Hello, Richard from budgetguitarist.com. From budgetguitarist.com. And today I'm going to share with you some footage of how I make videos. I hope you find this video useful. I recognize it's probably not going to be useful to most people, but if you're just starting out on YouTube and you want to figure out how to make YouTube videos, this video is me sharing how I'm currently doing it and explaining the gear I use, etc., and so on. I really don't feel like my channel does a phenomenal job of videography and all that kind of stuff, but I recognize that there's different stages of YouTube channels. And my own channel, I think, is better quality now than it was in the past, and hopefully it'll be better in the future. For cameras, I'm currently using the iPhone SE, the newer one, which is basically like an iPhone 11. Before that, I was using this guy, and this is the original iPhone SE, and this is the equivalent of a iPhone 6. It's just a small form factor. You can see how I've got it plugged in right now. The battery on this thing is almost completely shot, and so the only way I can use this is if it's plugged in. If I don't plug it in, it's got a battery life of maybe 20 minutes. But where I need to have two cameras, like for some of my guitar maintenance videos, what I'll do is I'll record simultaneously on both phones. And then I'll bring the footage into Final Cut Pro on my computer and edit it there. Okay, so how do I monitor what I'm doing? Well, I'll show you. I've got this Apple TV 2nd generation. You can buy these used for next to nothing. And basically that is connected to this TV here, this Sony. Hey, look, I can make like an infinite amount of reflections by aiming the camera at the TV. It's kind of annoying though. But basically I've got this big 46-inch monitor. So I can always look at the TV and I can see exactly what's on camera. The cool thing about doing this is it really didn't cost me anything. I already had the TV and the Apple TV. So that's kind of cost effective. It's very cost effective. So let's talk about lights. This is the Neewer, the 480, the NL480. And I have two of these. And it is basically an LCD or LED, whatever, light. It comes with this cool soft box. If I take the box off, you can see what the light itself looks like. Really, really small. Here's my hand in comparison. So it's really small. It's got the ability to run off of two batteries, which I don't do. I didn't buy them. I just use it plugged in. And then what the soft box does is it's just there to make the light a little less bright and to light up the room a little bit better. Let me fight with this thing on camera. That'll look professional. Oh, there she goes. Comedy gold here. Yeah, good enough. There we go. So again, I have two of these. Now, before I had these, let me show you what I used. This is what I used before I had those, the Neewer. This is like $8 or $9 at Lowe's. And what you do is you just buy a nice natural light white light here, and then you put some what do you call this, wax paper over it, and this does the same job as this softbox here. It just kind of diffuses the light a little bit, right? Then you can clamp this thing to anything. You can clamp it to a shelf, or you can clamp it to another lamp or a table. And I used actually 2 or 3 of these for a bunch of videos on my channel, until I finally decided to get these. This is it's a lot more professional, and the biggest advantage, this actually works really well, but there's no way to turn it down. It's all up or all down. Whereas on the Neewer light, you've got like a white light and a yellow light, and you can kind of mix and match. I usually don't use the yellow much, but you can. And so this is super flexible. A pair of these with the stands, I want to say it was $160, but by the time somebody else goes to buy them, who knows what it could be. But I definitely would recommend these lights. So that's lights. Let's talk about sound. So here's what I use for sound. This is a lapel mic. Basically, I started with like a $29 Panasonic lapel mic. And then at some point in time, I decided to upgrade, and I got a Rode mic element. And it didn't sound any better. It was $100. The $100 mic didn't sound better than the $29 mic. So the point of the matter is, if you spend a lot of money on a condenser mic, electric condenser, lapel mic, the expensive ones don't necessarily sound that much better than the $29 ones. I'd recommend save your money. Now, you can get wireless, and that is really, really cool. I'm on a budget here, so I still have this big, long cable. This thing comes with a super long cable. I'll run this up underneath my t-shirt and then clip it. And so it'd be good to have a wireless mic. Right now, this is what I have, and it's fine. So what happens here is the microphone itself runs into this little Alesis Multimix 4. It's like an $89 mixer, I think. And then it sends the signal to this, which is my audio interface. This is a Tascam US 16x8, so it's got 16 inputs and 8 outputs. So the Tascam goes directly into my MacBook Pro. This is a 2018 MacBook Pro running Logic Pro. And you can see how I've got this set up. Basically, I record all of the condenser microphone into this one track here. And then I've got a little bit of EQ on here to kind of help it sound better. I'm boosting the high end a bunch. I've got something called an expander, and then I've got a compressor, and I've got an Apex oral exciter to add some nice high end to it. And then I've got a limiter. So on the tracks where I'm playing guitar and I'm speaking, I'll have the condenser mic will be one track, and then the guitar, I'll be recording the HX Stomp into a separate track. Then I can mix it down, and then I import the audio from Logic into Final Cut Pro. So here's how this works. This is the video from my camera. Let me turn on the audio so you can see it. Okay. So see the waveform here. This is the audio from the camera down here. This is the audio from Logic. And what I'll do is I'll line these up, and then I will just turn off the audio for the video camera. So you're seeing the video camera, but then you're hearing the audio from Logic Pro. And then I'll merge them together so that I just have one file that I can edit here in the timeline in Logic Pro. So in the case where I might have like two different recordings where I'm playing guitar, for example, and I want to have two windows in the viewer, right? I want to show both of me playing guitar, so playing rhythm and playing lead. What you can actually do in Final Cut Pro is you can have video, as many video on top of each other. So you could have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you want. And then you can just kind of switch back and forth between the two videos. And you do that by temporarily disabling a clip. So right now it's showing this one. Now if I enable this clip and I come up here and I disable this one, now we're looking at the bottom one. So you can just kind of go back and forth between the two. Or the other cool thing you can do in Logic is you can resize clips. So I can go in here and I can scale that down, and then I can actually move it around on screen. So now this is sort of like picture in a picture, and you see how easy this is in Final Cut Pro. Most people use either Final Cut Pro or like Adobe Premiere. Adobe Premiere is more expensive, harder to learn, and more powerful. Final Cut Pro is, I think, easier to learn and has more than enough power for what you would need for a YouTube channel. If I didn't run Final Cut Pro, I would run iMovie. And you can do some of this stuff in iMovie, but Final Cut Pro is really the place to go. Okay, so for green screen, I had a heck of a time with green screen. I bought a big, huge thing that went up on two huge poles. It was like room-sized. It never worked right. I could never get the wrinkles out, and I hated it. And so eventually I just broke down and bought this thing. If you look at the size, this is like, it's taller than I am. It's 6.5 feet tall and it's 5 feet wide. And when I bought it, it was $38. Now the price has gone up to $46. Interesting. It's worth every penny of it. So you can take this thing and just literally lean it against the wall, stand in front of it, and shoot. and it is definitely the best way to do green screen. And green screen is very easy to do in Final Cut Pro. If you're going to do any kind of green screen, I would strongly recommend that you buy this, right? And this is the same brand as my lights. This is Neewer. The one thing I would say about it is they show you how you can easily fold it up and store it. A lot of people will tell you it is almost impossible to fold this thing up consistently. If it's really hard to do, it's very easy to damage the product and bend the frame while you're trying to fold it. So if you can figure out how to fold it, watch the videos online. If you can get good at it, that's great. I don't want to break the thing, and so I just take the entire thing as it is and I put it in my garage, and it sort of lives in there when I'm not using it. And honestly, that's what I would recommend. But I'd strongly recommend this product for green screen. Don't buy the big, huge thing with the stands and just assume you're going to get all the wrinkles out. And don't assume you've got room in your bedroom for a green screen stand contraption. It's just not going to work. Get this thing. It's awesome. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again next Friday at 5.